Across the tracks. It's time to go. Time to go. Across the tracks. Across the tracks. It's time to go. We're going across the tracks. Across the tracks with bluesman Steve Strongman today. Sir, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Nice to talk to you.
You too. First off, right out of the gate, big congratulations. Grammy Award nominations to you.
Thank you.
How does that feel?
It hasn't really sunk in, to be honest, yet. It's still very, very brand new. When you approach these projects, and the way it all started was very organic. So nobody entered into this, hey, let's create some music and see how it's going to do. We just went into it trying to write some music together. I'm referring to myself and Kim Wilson, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, of course.
Yeah. Before I even get into that a little bit, I just wanted to ask a general question. It occurred to me as I do this podcast and talking to so many musicians, and recently I had a conversation with Gary Kendall, of course, of Downchild. I would guess you would know him. And he educated me on a lot of things. But when I left that conversation, I kind of had, I'm going to ask you, do you think blues gets enough credit for songwriting?
No, I don't think it gets enough credit for songwriting at all. I mean, to me, to fully answer that question, you almost have to define what people think is blues, and everyone has a different definition of that. So to me, I've always said that blues is everything to me. Like, everything is based on blues. Even modern country is, to me, sounds more bluesy than anything else. Pop music is based on blues, so that's a huge thing. But blues as a genre itself doesn't really get the kind of recognition in terms of songs, in my opinion.
Yeah, and why do you think that would be? Because it's been around so long? Or, they always say, this Leonard Cohen is a great songwriter. Of course he is. Neil Young, of course he is. And when they throw names around, I just was looking for a reason. Like, why don't they put the blues guys in there? Because in many ways, it's probably a more difficult song to write because it's, I don't know. It just seems to me as a non-songwriter.
Right. Well, it is difficult, but again, I think that the word blues to people means a certain kind of a thing. And there's so in the style of music, because it can be a more generic approach when people, like, if you're just talking about a 12-bar shuffle, that's sometimes where people just dismiss blues like, oh, it's just a 12-bar, it's just a shuffle. So many people can look at it like, oh yeah, you just repeat, write a line and then you repeat it and then you do it again and there's your blues song. Well, that's not the case at all. Look at the case of a wonderful blues artist like Bonnie Raitt. She just won the Grammy last year for one of her songs. She's an amazing writer. I think that people just need to look at strong writers, no matter what genre they're in, the strength of the song shines through. If it happens to be in a more blues vein, then so be it. But the strength of the song is really what's paramount.
Let's get down to the loving. Don't deny the heat. Don't pretend this ain't nothing. that's all we need. Let's get down and get it on. There's no time like now. Let's get down and get it on. There's no time like now. Let's get down and get it on. There's no time like now. Let's get down and get it on. There's no time like now. Tell me, do you wanna? 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 Tell me, do you? Let's get down and get it on. There's no time like now. Let's get down and get it on. There's no time like now. Let's get down and get it on. There's no time like now. Let's get down and get it on. There's no time like now. 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 No time like now. No time like now. There's no time like now.
Let's talk about the collaboration with the Fabulous Thunderbirds and Struck Down by the Blues. That song, we'll play that cut here, but before we play that, just give me some background how that all came. And the real question I have, once it all did come together, did you feel pressure?
Well, all of those are great questions. The way it all came together was Stony Plain Records president Jeff Kulovic had seen the Fabulous Thunderbirds perform, and he called me and asked me if I knew of the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and specifically Kim Wilson. And of course I did, and I'm a huge fan. And I shared the story with him of me meeting Kim when I was about in my teens. I was 16 years old, and I met Kim. Anyway, he asked me if I'd be interested in writing with Kim. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but Kim said that yes, he would write with this young Canadian guy, meaning me. But he had already made up his mind that he wasn't really interested in doing it, but he was going to do it for a day so he can say that he did. And thankfully, that day I flew out to California to meet with him, and I was planning on being there a week, and he was planning on only dismissing me after a day, but things went incredibly well, and we had written 2 songs in the first day. So he said, well, let's try again tomorrow, and that stretched out into a week, and we had 5 songs after the first week, and then I went back a couple of weeks later, flew back to California, and we did another 12 songs. So there was definitely a mutual respect there, and the writing process went very, very well. And to your question about if I felt pressure or not, I think that that's what made it go well, is I didn't feel pressure, and Kim didn't feel pressure. I mean, aside from me being in the room with a living legend like Kim Wilson, I honestly felt like I'm just here to try and write a song without any pressure on ourselves. And Kim felt the same way. And that's, I think, why the songs turned out as well as they did.
Well, that's great. I would have guessed the other way around. So that's really cool. And then when I read where, they're 50 years down the road, which is staggering. And he says he loved it and he thinks it's their best album. And the way I just read that, it sounded very sincere to me. That must make you feel amazing.
Yeah, when I heard Kim say that, I thought the same thing, which is amazing. And the fact that he feels like that, as when I approach this from a producing standpoint, to me it was a very separate way to approach it than from a writing standpoint. And the producing came after the fact, meaning, okay, I'm going to approach this now. We've written the songs. The most important thing was that Kim being the main artistic driving force of the Thunderbirds and the sole original member, the main thing to me was that he was happy. And then I had to approach it like, okay, this is a Thunderbirds record. And even Kim would tell you that, he has a solo career and it's an amazing solo career, but he has a very specific thing in mind for the Thunderbirds. And I wanted to honor that. And I wanted to make sure that was being represented with this record. So Kim and I and Glenn Parrish as co-producers were constantly coming back to that as a touchstone. Well, this is a Thunderbirds record, and it's a 50th anniversary Thunderbirds record. So you, as an artist and as a band, have to be happy with what it is.
Never lived in a shotgun house, but I missed a few meals. Talk about down and out, know just how that feels. One day it hit me like a thunderbolt. Little did I know that was all she wrote. Can anybody tell me what's a poor boy to do? I'm struck down by the blues. The playing the blues ain't the land of milk and honey. You better pay your dues, 'cause it ain't about the money. Heartache and loneliness, you know I've had my share. The blues can be your only friend when no one else is there. When it touches your soul, do what you gotta do. You've been struck down by the blues. Take a little advice. It's strictly a love affair. If you ain't all in, no, you ain't gonna go when you play the blues for people young and old. You give up all your worldly possessions, 'cause all that glitters ain't gold. Outside the 9 to 5, outside the curve, takes a bit of sting out this big old nasty world. To look on another way, I simply refuse. I'm struck down by the blues. I'm struck down by the blues. Nobody can help me paying my dues. Struck down by the blues.
Yeah, that's Landmark. Let's talk about your role as the producer on that album, Struck Down, which is up for Best Traditional Blues Album and Best American Roots Performance. And you've got, because it's the 50th, and they wanted to make it special, brought in a pretty impressive guest list there. So I'm guessing that you are working with these people. You're the producer. You must be in the room with them. And if you were unfazed by pressure meeting Kim Wilson, tell me, what you felt like with Mick Fleetwood, Taj Mahal, Keb Mo, Bonnie Raitt, Elvin Bishops, Billy Gibbons, Terrence, Simien.
Well, Adrian, technology being what it is, I was actually not in the room with every single one of those artists. I was in charge. One of my roles as producer was to make sure that logistically all of the guests have what they needed, and both making sure they have the tracks to record to, and they had the vision of what we wanted them to do. So all these artists are world-class touring artists, all the names that you mentioned, of course. And it just logistically was too difficult to get everybody in the room at the same time to do it. It was just not going to work out with touring schedules and everything else. Having said that, they all love Kim so much and respect Kim so much that everyone had a resounding yes as soon as we approached them on whether or not they want to be part of this. And that all came from Kim. When we were writing Payback Time, I was playing, and Kim said immediately, Billy Gibbons would be great on this. And, in the middle of us writing the song, Kim actually called Billy Gibbons and said, I'm writing a song with my buddy Steve Strongman in Canada right now. He's in the room here, and we have a tune that'd be perfect for you to guest on. And Billy Gibbons said, just tell me where and when. And so, I mean, that's pretty remarkable. So I did speak with Billy personally, and it was just amazing to discuss different aspects of recording with him and what we were looking for out of Payback Time. I did speak with Keb Mo, and he was in the studio at the same time with Taj Mahal. So that became, again, logistically an easier thing to do. And, with Bonnie Raitt, I was in touch with her team and management and engineers to make sure that we were all on the same page with what we needed. And just like with the same with Mick Fleetwood and Terrence, Simien and Elvin Bishop, on that level, you're operating at such a high level with these world-class artists that, communication is paramount, but they're so amazing and they're so used to doing this that it was really quite smooth. I think everyone in the project, all of us, of course, would have preferred if each person were in the room while we were all working together, but that just wasn't the case for guest spots.
I was born in Louisiana, raised in Algiers. Everywhere I've been, the people's all say, ain't nothing in rambling, neither running round. Well, I believe I will marry, find me a good girl and settle down.
When I first left home, I stopped in Tennessee. People all saying, why don't you come and stay with me? Oh, there ain't nothing in rambling, either running around. Well, I believe I'll marry, ooh, Lord, and settle down.
Through the alley with my hand in my coat. The police started to shoot me, thought I was something I stole. You know there ain't nothing in rambling, neither running around.
down.
Now you may go to Hollywood, try to get on the screen, but I'm gonna stay right here, eat these old cheddar beans. There ain't nothing in rambling, either running around. I believe I'll marry a child and settle down.
They got your peoples on the highway, walking and crying.
Some of them starving, some of them dying.
Oh, there ain't nothing in rambling, either running round. I believe I'll marry a child and settle down.
Well, I believe I'll marry, Lord, and settle down.
Well, I believe I'll marry, oh Lord, and settle down.
Let's shift the conversation to Canadian blues, because it probably won't be long, if it already isn't there, where you get to make the phone calls to say, hey, I'll get this guy or that guy in the Canadian blues scene, which really is, again, another underappreciated. It's remarkable. Again, my conversation with Gary Kendall, it really is a remarkable list, and probably at a stronger place. Well, you speak to that. Tell me where Canadian blues was, and where do you think it is?
Well, I totally agree with you, and I agree with what our mutual friend Gary Kendall was likely saying, which is Canadian blues is world-class blues. It's Canadian musicians are world-class. I wouldn't even just limit that to blues, but in terms of what we're talking about, I think it has to be. Obviously, blues being an American art form, in a certain way, if you're not American, you're viewed as an outsider, and that's just the way that it is. Like, we are emulating artists that we loved, that are predominantly American artists. So yeah, of course we're doing that. But I think that as Canadians approaching this style of music and this art form, we have to be at such a level that it is so world class to make any headway and to even be considered in the same kind of discussion circles as some of the Americans. And, to me, being able to get into those discussions with these people, you can get your foot in the door, but once you're in the door, it's kind of on you. And where you're from or anything else doesn't necessarily figure into it in as much as what do you bring to the table. And that's certainly how I felt working with these world-class people. I mean, Kim and I had, we had really strong material that we had written. And I think that that's reflected in the artists that wanted to be part of the project and in the end result that we got.
On your album, the Blues Remedy, Volume 1, again, you're going to some great Canadian blues artists there. And one in particular I'd like you to speak about, because, again, he's going back. He's not somebody I'm 100% familiar with. Harrison Kennedy, you do a couple of songs with him. Can you talk about that relationship? And, again, that thing that's so really, really great about the blues, more than any other genre, how they honor the past and the musicians of the past. They build on that. I love that about the blues.
Absolutely. And look no further than Harrison Kennedy. He's one of the best singers I've ever heard, bar none, in my entire life. And he's the real deal. Yes, he's Canadian, but as a member of chairman of the board, he was, basically in the Motown era. He lived it. He contributed to it. And as a Canadian, that is incredibly unique. So, Harrison and I are very close friends, and I have such incredible admiration for what he has done in his life and respect for him as a singer and performer. So when it became time for me to do this record with Stony Plain, and they said, have you got some friends you'd like to invite as part of the Strongman Blues Remedy? Harrison was at the top of my list, as he should be. But also, he's the real deal. He's authentic. Myself being born and raised here in Canada, and Harrison doing that as well. But at a young age, he went and was with those artists at Motown and hanging out with the Jackson 5 and all of the other amazing Motown artists as part of chairman of the board. And I think that he brought a very unique flavor to that band, and he carries that with him just as the kind of artist that he is and the world-class performer and singer that he is. And, for me, I try and glean as much as I can from somebody like that. I'm in the studio with him and writing songs with him and trying to learn as much as I possibly can from him.
Some people walk, some get high just to get by. I like to ride, oh yeah, every day, every night, with my rider by my side. Hey, I ain't playing, it's worth saying, ain't no game, there's no shame. I just like to ride day and night. Oh, I like to ride. Got my rider by my side. Yes, yeah. Come on. I like to ride. 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 Ride, ride, ride. I like to ride. Oh, Lord. I like to ride. I like to ride. What you gonna do? Just stick with me, baby. Girl, I'll stick with you. By my side. Lord, Lord, Lord. I like to ride. 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 Woo. I like to ride. Oh, Lord. Keep on riding. I like to ride. 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 With my little baby girl by my side. Oh Lord. Woo, come on. I like to ride. 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 Oh, I like to ride. Baby girl, my son, Lord, oh yeah, yeah, I like to ride.
I'm glad you brought up the Stony Plain Records, that label. It's been around now almost coming up on 50 years, and it's based in Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
It is now in Waterdown. It was, but it's actually not currently. It's recently been sold.
Ah, the idea of that and the fact that it's still alive in whatever ownership still speaks to the vision of 1976 who had it. And you've been on that label for a while, but really what I'm getting at is the business of music since 76 to now, which has changed drastically, but making a life in the blues. And if you were talking to somebody young, would the advice, this is another fellow friend of mine here, Ray Bonneville, who lives in our part of the world, he says it's very simple, Adrian, you gotta live it.
Yes, sir.
What would you say to the up and coming musician of any stripe?
Well, first of all, I love Ray Bonneville. I'm a fan of Ray's, and I think he's a huge talent and amazing. He's right about that. What I would say to any young up-and-coming artist is do what it is that you want to do. You have to be true to yourself. Don't go, okay, I'm going to be a blues guy, because if you don't feel it, it's not really going to hit people in the right way. You have to be true to yourself as an artist. Look at me as an example. I love so many different styles of music, but blues was always the thing that cemented everything together for me. I was in rock bands. I had record deals in my 20s, and that was all, to me, it all came from blues still. It all sounded like the same thing to me. So I was always being true to myself as an artist, and then even when I was playing in hugely successful hip-hop rock bands as a hired gun guitar player, I remember being out on the road in a tour bus and saying, if I'm going to be out here and living like this and doing this, I want to be honest to myself about the style of music that I want to be playing. And that was steeped in blues. And that's when in 2006 I came out with my first solo record called Honey. So to your question, if you're talking to a young up-and-coming artist, I say, do what it is that you want to do. And that can be a moving target for artists. It can be really hard to pinpoint what that is. Sometimes that can be the most difficult thing that an artist can do, which is to say, no, this is the kind of artist I want to be. This is the kind of music I want to create. And this is what I want to put out into the world. So the sooner people can focus on that, I think as an artist, the better off they're going to be.
Great advice.
What you do to me. These chains around my heart will never let me free. What do I need to do, oh, to make you believe? All I want from you, for you to be true to me. I try
can we talk about drugs and alcohol and the way it shows up, not just in your songs, but in songs everywhere, and why they make such great songs? I want to talk about two songs here, one at a time. White Lightning, and I read somewhere in your philosophy, and I can pick it up here, about celebrating life, and those are some of the pitfalls, of course, those songs. But why is that such a topic for so many songs, drugs and alcohol?
Sure. Those are classic themes. Certainly in blues-based music, but in all styles of music, there's, they're classic themes. So that's what I would say in this style of music. So specifically about White Lightning, thank you for bringing up that song. That's a special song for me because it does touch on drinking, but this song itself, if you listen to all the lyrics, it's more about reminiscing about my time with Mel Brown and how I was thinking about him, and the song White Lightning refers to that, how Mel used to carry around a little bit of alcohol in his golf bag, and we'd have a sip on it every once in a while when we were just having time spending together, playing golf. And then it's sort of, the song turned into something else about, drinking White Lightning and trying to take away pain, and using alcohol as a substance that can help you cope, as a coping mechanism, which is not a good thing to do, but I think it's something that people can relate to. And as a songwriter, what you're trying to do is create something that people can relate to, that people you can get an emotional connection with. And what do you have in common with people? Well, drugs and alcohol are something that is a lot of people use in a very common way. So I think that's why those songs perhaps resonate with people, and why those themes resonate with artists that are trying to be creative. We all have that in common. Those are very popular crutches.
Not to mention that on a golf course, guys often want to forget their game and get on with the party part.
Well, yeah, of course. Sometimes that's what golf is. You just, you're out there. Sometimes you're out there just partying. People are having a good time, and you just happen to be playing golf, right?
It'll drive you crazy for sure.
One thing you wanna know: be careful with that white lightning. It'll take you where you wanna go. Seems like now all I wanna do is drink white lightning, stop thinking about you. Oh, white lightning, only thing that helps. I'm sitting here crying 'cause I did it to myself. White lightning, show you the truth. Drinking lightning, stop thinking about you.
And then, of course, Getting Stoned, just a fun song, and they're just good live songs. And ultimately, when you're writing songs, is that what's in your mind? How does this play live? Not in the studio. This has to play live for me to put it on a record. Do you think like that?
Yeah, sometimes, but and again, thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to my songs that I wrote. The both of those songs, White Lightning and Getting Stoned, you're right. They're about that. Getting Stoned was more of a, looking around at what was happening in my community and seeing all pot shops that were sprouting up, and all these little businesses that I used to go into, and all of a sudden they seemed to change overnight after the pandemic, and they're all pot shops. And the reason why they're all pot shops, and there's so many of them in Hamilton, was everybody's getting stoned, I guess. Like, how can these places survive? So that's what happened. It was more about social commentary than it is about championing, smoking pot or, it's strange because people looked at that song when it initially came out as that, like, which, I'm not a pothead. I say people do whatever you want to do. If you want to drink, great. If you don't drink, that's great too. If you smoke pot, that's fine. Whatever, to each their own. It's more, that song in particular is about social commentary and what is happening in the community, and me taking note of it and realizing that whole culture of what used to be a subculture, and now it's so much in the foreground.
Yeah, it's like 7-Elevens. It's amazing how many. I often wonder, like, there's no way they could all be making money, but you alluded to it. They must be, because that many people are having a puff. So there it is.
Yeah, you're right. And it used to be so, when I went to high school, it was this naughty little secret that you were doing, out back, or people were doing rather out back, hidden away from everybody. And now people are walking up and down the streets, walking out of stores after purchasing it, and it's legal. And, it's pretty remarkable, the change that has happened in a really short amount of time. That's right.
Everybody's out there getting stoned. They're doing it together, do it alone. Smoking, vaping, take it too. They even got candy for a sweet tooth, 'cause everybody's out there getting stoned. Everybody's out there getting high. Light that spliff, watch the world go by. Never gonna stop it, so what's the point? There's a lot of politics around, smoking a joint. Oh, everybody's out getting high. There's worse things you could do. If it makes you happy, lightens your mood. Everybody's out there smoking grass. If you wanna join the party, all you do is ask. It's in the office, in the house, in little boxes, under the couch. Everybody's out there getting high. There's worse things you could do. Makes you happy, gets you in the groove. Go on. There's words business ain't no joke. Even politicians got a piece of the smoke, 'cause everybody's out getting stoned. Oh yeah, everybody's out there getting stoned. Everybody's out there getting stoned.
You're a guy now in his 50s. You started out as a teenager.
Yeah.
Time flies, right? So you've put in the work. You didn't chase money. You chased your passion, like you said earlier. You were true to yourself. You must be pretty happy with where you are career-wise right now. And how do you see your future? Where does this go, especially with this, with these Grammy nominations? How do you see where you go from here?
Well, I appreciate you saying all that, and thank you very much. But yeah, as musicians, we're still chasing money. Haven't we always been? That's really the case. We've always been trying to figure out a way that we can make a living and continue what we're doing. So, to me, there's kind of two sides to the coin, and it is. I'm thrilled with my career. I try and be a better guitar player, performer, singer, songwriter every day of my life. I love that. The difficulty, it really is making money. Like, Grammy nominations and JUNO awards are wonderful. God, it's incredible when your peers can recognize your work and when the public at large can recognize your work. But the bottom line is, like, those things don't come with checks in the mail. You try and figure out a way that you can do what you do, and success can mean many different things to many different people, and I do think that I am successful in that. As you mentioned, I'm in my 50s now, and this is all I've ever done. But there's no tour buses in my backyard. Like
it's your job, right? You're just doing your job, and you're good at it, and you've been able to keep the job. No one's fired you. You haven't fired yourself, which is awesome.
That's right. No, and you're exactly right. And at a certain point, Adrian, I believe that it's time for people to have a real conversation, because it's so easy for people that aren't in the business, that are fans, that just kind of go, oh my God, you're doing all of these things and you're touring all over the place, and look at how great you must be doing. But we've always been, I didn't get into this to be a millionaire rock star. I got into this because music called me. And so I am successful in that this is all I do every day of my life. I play music. I try and be the best artist that I can be. But sometimes that doesn't necessarily equate to, monetary success. And that's a real conversation to have with streaming and with, it used to be that if you got yourself into a position that you were being nominated for Grammy Awards, financial health wasn't the main thing on your list. But in today's day and age, with Spotify and Apple and all the other things, you're just not seeing the kind of money in return on you being an artist that you used to.
Okay. Love Coming Down is what we're going to play here right now. And when we come out of there, I want to talk to you about Randy Bachman. And you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
Couldn't sleep at night, turning around and burning up, I just wasn't right. Eyes were blurry and I couldn't see straight. Nothing seemed to work, no matter what I take. Started getting worse, I couldn't even eat. Walking in a daze like I'm dead on my feet. Seeing things around, but nothing's there. I went to the doctor, see what I could get. Doctor, please give me some good news. tell me what can I do? What can I do? Doctor, please give me some good news. What am I feeling? Is it some kind of flu? Tell me, what is this going around? He said, ooh, that's just love coming down. Love coming down. Some kind of flu. Tell me, what is this going around? He said, ooh, that's just love coming down. You got love coming down. Love coming down. You've got love coming down.
First record I ever bought, not Fragile. First record I ever bought, the actual vinyl. Never forget it to this day. One of my favorite albums. And here you are playing with Randy Bachman, and you rework one of his songs. He loves the version of the song. I love the version. Give me a story on how that all came together and how you decided to play the song that way.
Okay, well, Randy and I have been friends for a very long time. I met Randy. I opened up with my buddy Rob Zabo. Rob and I did an acoustic duo, and we opened up at the Key to Bala for Randy Bachman. This is probably going on 25 years ago for sure, perhaps even a bit more. But and the drummer in Randy's band at the time was his son, who's named Tal Bachman. So Tal and I really hit it off, and I went out to Vancouver to play with Tal in his first band, and I stayed at Randy's house. Randy was just so incredibly nice and accommodating, and just as he is, a lovely, huge, incredibly talented guy. So Randy and I have been friends a long time, and first and foremost, I'm a fan of his songs. His songs are incredible, and they're hits for a reason. He writes hits. He just knows how to do it. So when it became time for me to do something a little bit different and perhaps do a cover song, which I had not done very many covers on my recordings, a song featuring, or doing a Randy Bachman song featuring Randy Bachman was something that I was able to do. And so I got in touch with him, and I'd always loved that song, but you can't just do that song the way Randy did it.
Right.
And you have to do something that's perhaps a little bit more unique. So I tried to, myself and my producer, Rob Zabo, tried to do something unique with it. And when we presented it, here's how we think we're going to do it to Randy. He loved it. He absolutely loved it. And I was so happy because, you'd hate to try and pay homage to a Randy Bachman tune and send it to him and have him go, oh my God, I don't like this at all. What are you doing? So no, he loved it. And when I asked him to play on it, he did. And to me, that's the biggest compliment that I could get, is trying to do justice to a classic song, like You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, and have the guy who wrote it say that he loves the version. And then even further than that, when I performed with him in Quebec on tour, he was on the road and so was I. He got me up and we played my version of the song with his band in front of 50,000 people.
Sweet.
You know, it was really incredible, and that was to me like a huge full circle moment as well. You know, I love Randy. I love his songwriting is really incredible, and those songs are all hits for a reason. So, you know, that was a really special thing.
Said, you ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something you're never gonna forget. You know, you just ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't been around. Now I'm feeling better, 'cause I found out for sure. She took me to a doctor and told me I was cured. He said that any love is good loving. So I took what I could get. Yes, I took what I could get. He looked at me with big brown eyes and said, you ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something you're never gonna forget. You know, you just ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't been around. She said any loving's good loving. So I took what I could get. Yes, I took what I could get. She looked at me with big brown eyes and said, you ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something you're never gonna forget. You know, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't been around. You ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something you're never gonna forget. You know, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't been around. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't been around.
Steve Strongman, I want to thank you so much for coming on Across the Tracks, giving me some backstories on some great songs. You have 7 albums, all of them. You know, I've done a deep dive in the last few days. All of them. You don't write any bad songs. You got the goods, man.
Thank you, Adrian. I really appreciate you having me on, and thanks for the kind words.
We've gone across the tracks. This has been a Borderline Entertainment production.